stayed up late, but let me tell you, this is nothing compared to the dedication of the doctors and nurses and healthcare workers who are just risking everything to protect us and help us. And the bill we put on the floor of the Senate that's going to pass today, we pushed very hard, and we got a Marshall Plan for hospitals. $130 billion. It'll go for ventilators. It'll go for PPE, the protective equipment. It'll go for masks. It'll go even to help if a new nurse has to come in because she's off, but her kids are home from school, some help to watch the kids so she can be in school. So the bill we put on the floor, I know you haven't asked me, but I'll get right to it, has two titles.
Yes, please do.
It's called Marshall Plan for Hospitals and Protecting Our Workers Above Corporations. And the bill the Republicans put on the floor, you saw some of them complaining, had none of this. We greatly expanded it. It's not close. So we got much more money for hospitals. Second, workers. What about all these people who are being laid off? We have unemployment insurance on steroids. You will be able to apply quickly for unemployment insurance. You'll get your full salary for most workers for 4 months, and you'll be furloughed. So if your company or the people you work for have health care for you, you keep getting that. And so that gives the money where it's needed to the people who have lost work, not just throwing it out of an airplane so even millionaires can get it. And to boot, because you're just furloughed, when the God willing, this crisis is over, you will be able to go back to work to the same company. We can reassemble the restaurants and the small businesses and everything else that is now dormant back together because everyone will stay with their employer. The third thing, they have $400 billion for corporations. There was no oversight for the loans that Trump or the secretary might give. We have real oversight. In fact, Elizabeth Warren, who's been very tough on this, helped. Every contract they make has to be made public within 7 or 14 days. In their bill, there was no publicity of it for 6 months, so we'll know what these are. We have an inspector general who, with a subpoena power, who can go after them and get to the bottom of it. So we will be able to keep a real eye if there's any misdeeds in giving out this corporate money. Fourth, money for small businesses. There'll be direct loans to small businesses who have no income now. And they will be able to stay in business, and we will pay their employers at their salary. And fifth, money for states and localities. The Republicans didn't want any. We got $150 billion. So New York State will get not only $5 or $6 billion itself, but the city will get $2 billion. All the counties will get money. The MTA in New York City gets $4 billion, mass transit throughout. So this is a very good bill. We've gotten a lot of things in it, none of which were in the bill the Republicans put on the floor on Sunday. But we came together, we passed it, we improved it. It's not everything everyone wants, but it's a great start, and we'll keep at it.
Good. Well, Senator Schumer, this is Megan.
Hi.
This isn't necessary. Hello, it's nice to see you. This isn't necessarily directed at you because I think I've been on the record many times saying that I'm a fan of yours and I think you actually play pretty fair ball on both sides.
Thank you.
But I was really disappointed that this bill took several days of back and forth. It was reported that Democrats were trying to use the negotiations to expand collective bargaining for unions and tie aid to airlines, reducing emissions. There's a video of Nancy Pelosi all over the internet talking about how people are concerned about the environment while bailing out airlines. I personally think this is another conversation for another time while Americans are suffering and scared. Why do you think there's partisan politics being played right now when American lives are at stake?
Some of it wasn't partisan. You know, when the bill that was put on the floor, and Mitch McConnell did it on his own without talking to us, had no oversight of this corporate lending, didn't have enough for the hospitals, didn't have anything for state and local governments. We said we should wait a day and try to get that in, and some people got mad, but most people understood. As for these extraneous provisions, none of them are in, but we do say, and some don't like it, if you're going to give money to the airlines, they got to keep their workers. They can't fire all the flight attendants and everyone else. They're getting federal loans that ought to go to the workers first. That kind of labor protection belongs in the bill, in my opinion. But these extraneous things...
Could I just interject really quick? But there was a part of the bill, too, that was trying to help, I believe, the Kennedy Center in it. And again, I think I'm glad the bill is done. I'm glad you guys stayed up late fixing it. I just think going forward, I would implore all politicians, and again, I wouldn't necessarily direct this at you, but people like Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi to take partisan politics out of this as much as possible, just because people, especially New Yorkers, are so scared. But
we
thank you
have
for
to
all your
come,
hard work.
we have to come together, and we did, and this bill will pass today, and hopefully money should be flowing into New York and the rest of the country early next week. So that's very
Thank
good.
you.
And the money for like ventilators, which we're so short of, is desperately needed.
Yeah. Senator Schumer, this is Sunny. Democrats,
Sunny.
Hi, Senator. Democrats did secure a provision to block Trump's family businesses from receiving
Yes.
loan money under the programs, and that's something that I've been discussing, and I'm very concerned about that.
Yes.
The other day, Trump refused to say if he would bar his own company from receiving
Yes.
stimulus money. So are you confident at this point that he won't find a way
Yes.
around this?
No, we've written a very strong provision, not just for Trump, but certainly for him, but for any powerful official, a cabinet, a senator, a congressman. If they own a business or their family owns a business, they should not get these loans. The people in office should not write legislation that benefits them. So yes, I'm quite confident it's a very strong provision. And we've also said the money shouldn't go to foreign companies. Some of these companies are overseas, they pay no taxes, they shouldn't be getting these loans.
Senator Schumer, this is Sarah, and it's really great that the government has stepped up to offer these protections to affected Americans. But do you have any advice to people who are looking to help on a grassroots level? And what are the best ways that we can be helping each other at a time like this? Because I think so many of us are sitting at home saying, what can I do as an individual to give back to help?
And
in my own community.
One of the worst things there are two things about this crisis that are like none other. I lived through 9/11. I lost 3 people, 3 friends of mine in the towers. The difference here is twofold. First, we're so uncertain. How long is this going to last? What are the actual steps we should take? I called a friend of mine who's a very smart doctor, and I said, if you get this once, are you immune from it? They said, we don't know yet because it's so new. So the uncertainty is very troubling. But second, the isolation. New Yorkers, Americans, we like to come together during a crisis, and we've done that very well. Now we're all isolated. So one of the things I'd suggest, actually, is just because you're isolated, stay in touch. Email, talk to people, be on the phone, set up chat rooms. Those kinds of things can deal with a little bit of the isolation that we feel. And encouraging, we all know healthcare workers, just encouraging them. They're going through a nightmare now because of the overburdened healthcare system. We've given them now a lot of money and a lot of help. That'll start coming once this bill passes. But lending support to them can be very, very important.
Mm-hmm. You know, we talked earlier about you-know-who saying that he wants the country, it's Whoopi, by the way, country back in business by Easter.
I recognize your voice, Whoopi.
Yeah, well, anyway, you know, Easter's less than 3 weeks away. In your opinion, is this realistic? Is it a good idea? And
No.
is it time for us to just really start implementing the things we need to do to save ourselves rather than listening again to politicians? No disrespect, but I would rather listen to Dr. Fauci than hear this again. So what's your opinion?
I'd say 2 things here. Number one, this kind of advice should come from healthcare professionals, not politicians. They know things best. And second, I'd remind the president and everyone else, the best way to get the economy going again is to beat this virus. And we should be doing everything we can right now to beat this virus, to let it go away, let it subside, and then we can get our economy going. If you just don't do the things the doctors recommend, it's going to be with us a much longer period of time.
Well, our thanks to Senator Chuck Schumer. Thank you for your hard work, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.